Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk Weekly podcast. This is Chancellor D, and my guest today is CupcakeNinja Cosplay.
Hello.
And today we are discussing the Deadpool movie, which comes out this week, or has come out this week, which I know everybody has seen or will see sometime in the near future, so we all can discuss spoilers. But this discussion is like about Deadpool as a character and X-Men movies and everything else under the sun. But we also explore your cosplay origin story, which I think is a real fascinating story. And then there was something I did not ask you during our discussion, which was advice you would want to give to Black cosplayers, because this is February and there's a big movement right now with hashtag 29 days of Black cosplay. So what is some advice you would want to give to Black cosplayers?
I would say more than anything, if there's something you want to cosplay, do it. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Just go ahead and do it. There's a lot of people that may have something to say, but there's also a lot of people that will support you as well. Just find that one friend in the cosplay community that has your back, and you'll be just fine. I've received, some backlash, and other cosplayers have received some backlash for cosplaying characters that don't match their skin tone, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But just remember that the best thing for you to do for yourself is to do what makes you happy. Because the people that are, going to throw insult, they don't pay your rent. They don't put food on your table. They matter nothing in the scheme of things. And don't allow someone else's hate or ignorance to take away from your happiness. Because they're going to go about their life doing just fine, having hurt you and ruined you. So, don't allow those people to take away your happiness. Keep your power. Be who you want to be. Represent who you want to represent. And just be yourself and just be happy with being who you are. And, and if you're not that confident of a person, that's totally fine. Like I said, just find that one friend that will have your back. So that's pretty much what I just encourage people to be the characters they want to be. So.
Awesome. With that, everything going on this month, please join us in the hashtag. I know everyone's doing a great job, and this weekend being Valentine's Day, have a great time, everybody, and go see Deadpool. Welcome to the Let's Talk Weekly podcast. You said so your wedding was Deadpool themed. Right?
Yeah, actually, more so, our colors were black and red, and my husband at the time, well, he still is, but super into Deadpool. So as a surprise, I had our wedding cake inspired by Deadpool. So we did. I'm a huge cupcake person, obviously, by my name. So we had cupcakes with Deadpool toppers, and then we had a wedding cake with Deadpool crawling out. So it was kind of my way of showing him that, I love him, and then obviously Deadpool's awesome, so why not?
Nice. So was he surprised seeing that on the cake?
He was super excited. He didn't expect it, so he was very happy.
Oh, was it good? So how did you is it like the fake out, this thinking it was gonna be like a regular cake?
Yeah, I told him it's going to be red, white, and black, and he just let me have complete freedom with it, so I didn't really tell him what it was going to look like.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he made it easy.
So were there, your guests asking questions of, what is this, or what is this logo?
Well, most of them know us well enough that they kind of figured it was going to be superhero themed. So, yeah, they were asking, but they were also like, okay, yeah, this is definitely their personality. So.
Gotcha. That makes me think about a wedding I was in last year, and their cake was the one side was regular white icing, the back of it was um, Deadpool. I want to say, and then they had Sailor Moon, Tuxedo Mask, Topper, and I want to say
Oh, that's cool.
I forget. There were two more layers on the superhero side. I think it was Harley Quinn, and I think Spider Man. So
Oh, very nice. Yeah, actually, I love stuff like that.
nice. So, Kat, one of the reasons like I want to have you on today was first talk to you about you and your cosplaying and stuff that you do, but also talk to you about the Marvel movies more, and we can cover the MCU and Fox movies, but today's topic is about the Deadpool movie coming out. Let's see, when this movie released, the movie will have either been out by a couple of days or it comes out today. First off, well, before we get into the Deadpool part of the conversation, like, who is CupcakeNinja Cosplay?
Oh, but me?
Yes.
Like, are you saying, like, how I get the name, or,
Yeah.
what am I, what I represent?
Yeah. How'd you get your name? Like, what's your origin story?
Oh, okay. Well, anyone that knows me knows that I am absolutely obsessed with cupcakes. And one day I was working, and I'm a veterinary technician, but anyway, I was in the kitchen in the building that we had, and I had a cupcake. And the cupcake was actually on the other end of the table. And I think I was rushing to do something so I could get back and like treat an animal or something like that. And I had knocked my cupcake off the counter. And somehow in between like me being about 5 or 6 feet away, I dove and managed to catch the cupcake. So that was the origin of the Cupcake Ninja. I pretty much did some crazy ninja moves and like jumped over the table and saved it. So that's how that came about. I was just looking for a cosplay name because obviously I don't want to use my real name all the time. And so calling myself a Cupcake Ninja years later, I went ahead and just kept it because I liked it. It was different. So.
Nice. How was the response from people? Like once you say, "Hey, here's a new cosplayer on the scene," like how do people take to your name?
They kind of gave me a sideways look, like, what the heck does that mean? But then also, a lot of people think that it's funny and silly, so I usually get a more positive response from it, just because it's super unique, and people are like, "Well, why would you call yourself that?" And, you know, I obviously people know one thing about me simply from my name, and that's I love cupcakes. So I think it kind of opens up a little bit people more to a conversation to get to know about me and why my name is so strange.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think the one thing I like doing is like asking people like what's their origin story, and it's like I always realize even outside of the world of cosplay, like, everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And it's something I think as a writer, it's like what's the story that you want to tell, or where's that you can look at people like what is their story. So I like your origin story name. Like it's very unique.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was the Cupcake Ninja before I decided to like call myself that in cosplay. Even if I had never cosplayed, I would have always been the Cupcake Ninja, just because people knew I wrote the story and people were laughing and like that's an awesome name, and people took my friends started calling me that, and so I ended up with it years later. So.
Nice. Has anybody ever asked you about like writing like creating a character based off of you?
No, not necessarily me. I do have an awesome friend that is working on a book. He actually finished it, and he should hopefully be publishing it in a few years. Or not 2 years today. Don't want to put that on him. A few months. But he wrote a character named Her, and he's a huge Marvel X-Men fan, but it's nothing like that. But that character, in a lot of ways, resembles me. And I just thought about cosplaying that as a nod to him. So that, I really appreciate his hard work, and he's a great writer, and I don't know. So nothing yet as far as myself, which is totally fine, because I enjoy being someone else. But of course, I'd be flattered if someone were to ask me. And maybe it'll happen one day, but if it doesn't, I won't cry, It'll be huge honor. So.
I I think it will happen. Don't be surprised if Marvel or DC or Image, somebody comes knocking on your door like, "Hey, we have an idea for a story, and you're the right person."
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. All right. How long have you been doing this?
Well, my first cosplay technically was 2007. Prior to that, even though I was into comics and things like that, it was not. I won't say that it was not acceptable, but I didn't really have as much support with cosplay. People had always thought I was weird when I was young. Of course, now, years later, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so cool." And I'm like, "I haven't changed since middle school." But now, cosplay is more mainstream. But so I'd say about 2007, and then I took a break for a few years, and I saw the cosplay world evolving and improving and changing without me in it. And it really bothered me, so I kicked it back in a year, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get back into it. Just because it wasn't a big thing when I started doesn't mean that it won't be, it doesn't mean that I didn't have to stuck it out. And honestly, it wasn't even that I didn't want to do cosplay. It was just I was trying to work and figure out my life because I just graduated from college. So I just kind of got busy and put it to the wayside, which I wish I hadn't done because I missed out on some potential relationships, but it's never too late to start, so.
That is true. What are some of the characters that you've done, and like what inspires you to pick the ones that you've done?
Cosplays? Well, I make it a point to, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's just my own personal preference. I don't like to cosplay anything that I don't like, or not even necessarily don't like, anything I don't know about. So, I did a really fun cosplay, which I absolutely adore. I was D from Rat Queens recently, and some friends wanted to get a group together, and I was like, D looks like me in real life. So I was like, oh, I have to cosplay this girl. And I told them, I was like, I gotta read this first. I'm not gonna. I didn't say that to them. They didn't know, but I hadn't read it yet. But I went and bought the comics, and I breezed right through it, and I fell in love with the character, which I'm really happy about because I was in a hypocrite of my own if I had just gone ahead and cosplayed her just because I fit the bill, so to speak. But it turns out she and I are very similar in personality. So that's why D is one of the cosplays that I will continue to do in the future. And then, of course, Storm. I'm trying to, my goal is 30 long term, and I'll probably be like 50 by the time I'm done, but I want to cosplay every version of Storm possible. And Storm, for me, is my favorite cosplay because when I was younger, I didn't really have a black role model to look up to, female-wise. And my dad used to stay up with us every Saturday morning and watch cartoons, and X-Men was on. So I fell in love with that Storm. Like, very strong, a great leader. She had moments where she was weak, but she always overcame. And so, she always, no matter what, she always tried to do the right thing. And that really resonated with me at a young age. So actually my entire life, I've always tried to be like Storm. So cosplaying her was absolutely a no-brainer. And it was just a way for me to show my respect and my love for the character. So, yeah, so that's why Storm. Harley Quinn is one I've done before, a few times. I like her because she's crazy about her man, but doesn't take any crap from anyone. I don't know if I'm on the curse, so I won't.
You can if you want to.
She's just a really strong, fun character. I'm a funny person sometimes. Sometimes I can be a little too serious, depending on the setting. But I like Harley because she does not care. She absolutely doesn't care, and I really admire that. And I try to be more like her. I mean, of course, I care about things, but sometimes I care about things I shouldn't. So I try to emulate her in certain aspects. She's got really good qualities that a lot of people don't know about. They just think she's, the Joker's girlfriend, but she really has decent morals when you look deeper into her storyline. So that's why her. I'm trying to think of others. Well, my first cosplay was Blaze from Streets of Rage, and obviously there's not really much story to her, so I didn't really know much about her, but I was a huge gamer when I was little, and I loved Streets of Rage, and I loved that I could have a female character to play, so that was my first cosplay, because that was a closet cosplay. Don't ask me why I have that type of stuff in my closet, but I did. And so she was the first thing I cosplayed, and granted I didn't know much about her, but I only knew that she kicked ass, and that was awesome. So, so yeah. So that's pretty much what I can think of at the moment.
Got you. Streets of Rage. That's a classic.
It really is. I still have my, I have a Sega Game Gear, and I still have Streets of Rage 2 on it. So I should probably fire that back up and check it out. I'm sure it still works. I checked it like a year ago, and it was still working. So just too many batteries. I think it takes either 6 or 8, and I'm like, and if I get time for that. So.
Yeah, I wish my Sega Genesis still worked, although I haven't tried it in a couple of years. I just need to try one day. Yeah, you said Storm. Like, I know I saw your steampunk Storm. Like, what inspired you to do that version of Storm, or is that grounded in the comics?
So the steampunk Storm. That's actually an excellent question. There is an absolutely phenomenal Minnesota artist. His name is Jen Bruloff, and I met her at Phoenix Comic Con, and I fell in love with her. It was her lead desk, and then she had a Joan of Arc that was just unbelievably gorgeous. So she draws. Sorry, if people aren't familiar with them. So they do a lot of, I would say, like the sexier side of characters. So see Alice in Wonderland, I would say it's the dark version of Disney stories, and it's absolutely fun to read. Also very sexy, so which appeals to the male crowd, but I still like those comics as well. But anyway, she's a Minnesota artist, and I saw her work, and I was just mesmerized. And I was looking at her steampunk Joan of Arc. It was steampunk inspired. I was looking at her Joan of Arc on her, on her banner, and I was just like, that is the prettiest thing ever. And I was like, you know what? I really want to do a steampunk Storm. I've only ever seen one other one, and I feel like that's one thing that no one has tried to get really. And so I went up to Jen and I said, I was starstruck because I am such a huge fan. And I was like, do you do steampunk? And she was like, yeah. And she pointed up, and I'm like, I don't know why I just asked her that question, because I was looking at her steampunk pictures, but sometimes you get a little flustered when you're nervous. But so I asked her, I said, would you mind commissioning me a steampunk Storm? Like, would you create one for me? Because I absolutely love your steampunk work. And she said yes. And she said, but if I do, you need to come back here next year, and you will be at my booth, and we'll have the picture. I'll have the picture, and you'll have the replica, the cosplay, and we'll do pictures that way. So she created that Storm, and it's actually kind of fun. I don't know if she did it, but you can actually see her. She recorded herself drawing it and just coming up with ideas for it. And so a couple of weeks later, she actually added other females to the group. So we actually ended up doing a steampunk X-Lady group, all with original designs by Jen Bruloff. So that's how that came about. It was just me, being super excited to meet an amazing artist, and then wanting to, to cosplay something that she created, because I like her work so much. I thought about doing a steampunk Storm, but honestly it would just be some random thing that I made myself. But just having something I could do from an artist was a better idea for me. So yeah, so that's how that worked out. It was just a small idea in my brain, and Jen was amazing, and she made it happen. And so with the help of one of my friends who's actually a seamstress, I didn't make that costume myself. I tried to make them all myself, but that one was well beyond my skill level. So there's a seamstress here. I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but her name's Diane, and she just works magic. And I'm pretty sure she probably went crazy working on that costume, but she's absolutely phenomenal. And because of her, we were able to make it happen. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice, because I'm kind of growing into my love of doing steampunk characters, and I saw that I was like, okay, I really liked it, and it felt like Storm would have been in let's say Victorian era. I'm probably wrong, but
I understand.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I could see this really working, and And I'm glad that you have that rapport with the artist.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful. And actually, she has Jason had her own space just work on the other costumes, and her name is Maisie Designs, and she's worked with how am I forgetting her name all of a sudden? Everyone knows her name. She's super popular cosplayer, and I am not Jessica Negri.
Okay.
She actually makes some of Jessica Negri's costumes. I didn't have her work on my storm because the distance would just be too great to drive, and my friend was completely capable. So yeah, I didn't want to leave her out. So I kind of put her name in there too. She picked out the fabric, which is a huge part of the costume. So
nice.
Yeah.
So like outside of the world cosplay, like what other hobbies do you have?
Oh well, I kind of hinted at it before, but
yeah.
I'm a huge gamer. Like always have been. I don't know if my parents are brilliant or if they didn't pay attention, but that would be bad to say. But they supported me in gaming at a young age. I think I at least remember being at least 5 and playing Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Super Nintendo. We had all that. So, and I had a brother, so he and I would just sit in the house all day and just play. And sometimes he was outside, and I would just stay in the house and play by myself. So I guess for my parents, at least I was like safe, at home playing video games. And I had great grades, so it's not like they could say, "Oh, we're going to take your Super NES away." They couldn't because I was doing fantastic in school. So I'd say my biggest hobby is gaming. If you ever visit our house, our setup is absolutely ridiculous. We have 3 Xboxes, so that's why. And we have 2 TVs side by side so that we can game together. Beyond that, we have a PS4, we have a Wii U. But another hobby, which isn't as big as my gaming, but I do like to do fashion shows every now and then. So whenever I get the chance to do that, I really enjoy runway. Not really sure why, but yeah. And then I haven't done it in a few years, but my goal is to get back into it. Is 2 things. I like to write, and then also I play saxophone. So I'm a little bit of a random person.
Oh. And I think that's like a good example. You're an all-around inclusive person. Yeah. You said saxophone. Like, yeah. Do you still play?
I can. I just haven't in like a year or 2. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm
gonna get back into it.
Yeah, I used to play clarinet, and then I stopped.
Yeah. My first instrument was clarinet. So.
Oh, nice. When's unite? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
With one more topic, and I'm going to make sure that this does not go very long before we hit to the Deadpool part of the discussion, is because this tends to have a way of going on very longer. It's Star Wars, so because I always kind of dub the joke Star Wars NPR Hour because once it starts, that's what it becomes. But what is your take on The Force Awakens?
I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I came in with an open mind, and I was not disappointed. It wasn't anything like I expected. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that. And I felt like I felt like I was on a journey, and I was learning new people and getting to know people that I would actually want to have in my life. It sounds a little strange, but the characters were just so interesting, and they seemed like good people. And I just really enjoyed having a minority in the lead position, as a main actor, and also having a female as a main actress. It's not something normal that happens, and to see 2 people like that, and even with Poe Dameron, having I think it's Latino, it just shows that diversity can make for great film, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, there's a lot to love about Force Awakens. Of like, I just, going beyond like continuing from where Return of the Jedi left off. It's like, is this I think it did a good job of bringing people who have never seen Star Wars into the fold and like, yeah, hey, this is something I should look into.
Yeah, I actually agree with you 100%. I have several female friends that do not watch Star Wars, do not like Star Wars, just it's sci-fi or whatever. It's just not their thing. And I said to them, like, I understand that you don't like those type of films, but I feel like The Force Awakens may change your mind. That may be the only film that you like that's sci-fi, but I really think that you can enjoy it, having no knowledge or just simply disliking it. So I agree with you 100%. I think it really can bring in a new audience. And the great thing is that it can bring in a new audience, but it's still satisfying the old audience too. And that's, I don't think it's almost impossible to do, but it kind of is sometimes because you can't please everyone. But I feel like the majority, and the numbers show it, it broke pretty much every record you can imagine. The numbers prove that Star Wars, The Force Awakens really was just an amazing film. So, I think I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think that it broke the record for Avatar within like 3 weeks, and Avatar had been out for months or something like that. Something that was just ridiculous. I can't remember what it was. I wish I thought about that. But,
because the one factoid, and I'm not going to put this movie under the bus, although the internet kind of did, like the Fantastic Four movie from 2015. Like there was that joke of in the opening night of Force Awakens, it made the same amount of money that movie made during its entire run. I'm like, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it's good for The Force Awakens, but that just shows you the power of that film and also how good or not good the Fantastic Four was.
Yeah, I didn't see it. But
I honestly did not see it either. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Kat, like, you didn't watch it? I'm like, honestly, no. I had no interest. And usually I make a point to see every single comic book film, but I didn't give it a chance. And I probably will watch it eventually, but it didn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
Even though I like the Fantastic Four sometimes.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four, like as a comic and as like a unit, like they're a wonderful comic, but it's just from what people said, that one just didn't work.
Yeah, and I foresaw that well before it ever released, well before people were saying that. I'm not like some genius or anything, but it just didn't seem like it was coming together, and I felt like at some point they just wanted to release the film, no matter what shape it was in. So.
True. I mean, I guess all that stuff it kind of comes down to scripting, and I would say like one more thing about Star Wars, like because I know I had one friend who I think they said like this was their first one they saw, and they were like, okay, now I'm interested in Star Wars, whereas before they were like, I don't care about these things, but looking at the success of that, and then like the current like was it the show Rebels on Disney XD and things like stuff like that kind of appeals to children, but really is for the adults. Like Disney seems to be doing a fantastic job of their branding of keeping things going.
I agree. Definitely agree.
Still sad about Han Solo though, but
Yeah, I saw that coming though. Saw that coming on that way.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, okay, when I really thought about it, I was like, well, he kind of did play the Obi-Wan Kenobi role of this movie.
Yeah. Well, I figured with Han, like, that was Kylo Ren's Achilles heel, so to speak. As long as he had his daddy issues, he could never fully, just, like, focus on something else. And so I was like, I knew when he said, I need you to help me with something, I was like, oh, he's gonna die. So,
yeah. I think I kind of felt it like when he and Chewie were gonna plant the charges, and he said, "Let's separate, come back right here." I was like, somebody's not gonna come back.
Yeah. I knew that. I just didn't know who the person was being. Well, I during the movie, which is probably stupid, but during the film, I knew that someone had to die because it can never be just perfect.
Right.
And I just thought about who movies. Not that Han Solo wasn't like, you know, an amazing character, but who could they kill off and everything still be okay? So, and that was my thought. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and here's a really wild speculation. Like, although he was stabbed, he could do oh, fine. You could do like Gandalf in Fellowship of the Ring. Like he fell and then he comes back.
And come back.
Yeah. Yeah, we know.
We'll see. There's a lot of fire.
Yeah, I mean that's stretching it, but yeah, we'll see. But I didn't ask. Like you mentioned games. Like what games are you playing now? Because you said you all had 3 Xboxes.
Oh, okay. So the exact game that I'm playing at the moment is Ark. That one is, I guess it's an MMO, I guess? Player online, whatever. My husband really likes that one. Me, I'm just like, it's fine. But I'm playing that. I was prior to that, I was playing the heck out of Destiny, but Destiny's let me down as of lately, so I'm kind of giving it a break. Beyond that, Fallout, obviously. And that's pretty much all I've been rotating with. I'm trying to go back and beat all the stuff that I have from before because I have a ton of games that I have not beaten. And I'm the kind of gamer that tries not to own a single game that she hasn't beaten. For the longest time, the only game I had never beaten was Shinobi on Sega Genesis.
Oh, wow.
That has changed now. I have about 10 games that I haven't beaten at least. So I'm kind of going back and beating things now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can't tell you how many games I have not beaten. Just looking at my shelf, I'm like, yeah, there's too many sitting there. Like I got halfway through them and I was like, okay, next game. But yeah.
Yeah, I still have to beat Assassin's Creed Unity. I lost interest in that. Shadow of Mordor was actually really good, so I just stopped playing it. So just a whole bunch of random stuff.
Okay. To kind of go into our next section, have you played the Deadpool game?
On 360, I did. I didn't beat it though. That was another one that I didn't finish. I enjoyed it though.
Okay.
Well, it was okay. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
It was funny. I wasn't like overly enthused about it. It wasn't the best game, but I mean, it was okay. That's enough worse.
Okay. So you think that game kind of did like a decent job of like portraying the character, or like they have like enough essence of like it's Deadpool?
I would say that it did somewhat do that Deadpool a little bit of justice. It wasn't as lewd as I would have liked, being that this is Deadpool that we're talking about. But I would say there's a lot of funny jokes. The beginning of it was pretty cute. He was in his room and and then I think it was a prostitute or something showed up. I don't remember. It was so long ago now. But I think it did okay.
Okay.
With what they had.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of a walkthrough on YouTube, and I was like, this would be interesting to play if I could rent it or something, or maybe, or if somebody had it and let me borrow it. But I think one day.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bought it if I had known. But yeah.
Gotcha. Well, now since we're on to the topic of Deadpool, like as we said at the beginning of our discussion, like the movie comes out February 12th, next month, or as y'all are hearing this today or this weekend. So I find it interesting that this movie is coming out on Valentine's weekend, and like I've seen like the promotional posters, like the 50 Shades of Grey poster and the other interesting billboards. So do you think this would make like a really interesting like Valentine's-esque movie for people who are like, hey, let's go here for Valentine's Day?
For me, it is the best Valentine's Day ever. For the date, because I know who Woody Wilson is. So maybe my perspective is a little bit skewed, but I think it is awesome. Okay. For people that are not into lewd, crude, inappropriate humor, it probably won't go over well. But I think it's perfect for Valentine's Day. I mean, there is a love story in the movie. I mean, Wade had a love in his life in the comics anyway, so it's not like it's that far from who he is. I think the marketing on it is absolutely phenomenal. I watched the cut, I guess the Valentine's Day cut, whatever you call it, version of the trailer, and it looks like a love film, like a love story. It does. I don't like the word, but a chick flick.
Oh, wow.
And that made me so happy. Obviously, it's not a chick flick or whatever. I don't know if people still use that term. I don't really like it, but definitely not a movie for girls that aren't into comics. And then only when it goes for a love story. But I mean, I don't see anything wrong with people taking their dates to see it. I think you could get to learn a little bit about them if they're uptight or if they have a deep sense of humor. So.
Yeah, like when did you first get into Wade Wilson's character?
I think I'm a lot personally. I would say in 2016, about 5 years ago. It was actually my now husband, my boyfriend at the time, mentioned him, and I had heard of Deadpool, but I didn't really think much of him. This is an excuse, but being a girl, I wasn't really exposed to comics much. My brother didn't read them, and whenever I would see them, I'd have to get them from friends, and it's just not normal for girls to be raised in a, I don't know, I would say like a comic book type world. And so I had heard of Deadpool in passing, but I didn't know much about him, and he had told me, hey, this guy's awesome, and he actually cosplayed him once, which was freaking phenomenal. And that was when I started hearing about Deadpool. And this was before, I remember we went out for Halloween, he was Deadpool, and I was Catwoman. But he was like very few people in the room knew who he was, but the people that did loved it. They're like, oh my god, Deadpool. And I'm like, I guess this guy is pretty cool. And I was like, well, no one really knows who he is, but I mean, whatever. And then fast forward like 4 years, and now there's Deadpool everywhere. But so yeah, I'd say 5 or 6 years or so is when I heard about him. I haven't read all of his comics. There's so many. But I try to sneak in some Deadpool when I can, because I have a lot of stuff I have to catch up on. It's my first, I'd say, 15 years of life not reading comics, because, they weren't really for girls, I guess.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are really pushing to make a shift and make them appealing to everybody.
And that makes me so happy. I understand, why these years comics tour guys stuff who are buying it, but it's also nice that there are women who are getting into it and are open about it and enjoy it, and they're seeing that and recognizing it. It's pretty awesome. So.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, and look at like the character Deadpool of like his origins of like who he is, because like I'll be honest, I did not know who Deadpool was until the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie.
Oh really?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh sorry, I didn't mean to yell.
It's fine. I was telling a friend of mine about that today, and he's like, okay. And I was like, well, for me, like, I knew a little bit about Wolverine from, watching the X-Men cartoon in the 90s and some comics I've read and, like, the DC Marvel crossover things. And it's kind of watching his, like, various, with the show Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon and some other animated stuff. And then, obviously, the live-action movies. But seeing that movie, like, I didn't see it until I bought the DVD. And when they kind of did, like, the Weapon X program and then introduced Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, I was like, who is Deadpool? I have no idea who this is.
Yeah.
So, seeing him with, like, okay, I was like, well, they sold his mouth shut. Interesting. And he has katanas. Okay, interesting. Laser eyes. That's weird, but okay, I guess that's part of the character. I had no idea that they messed that up.
and I actually forgot. I had known about Deadpool, and I knew about him, like, as far as his personality and things like that, before Origins came out, because I remember seeing him as he came out, Deadpool, but I apologize, I stand corrected. Part of me wishes I hadn't known who he was, because I was incredibly disappointed. Like, I saw his humor, he's being a little bit of an a-hole and, sarcastic and, talking about throwing his mouth shut, whatever, which didn't really make sense, but, like, because he had a crazy sense of humor, and he always talked trash, which is one of the reasons he's awesome, but, that ruined him for me, that didn't ruin the character Deadpool, but seeing that was just like, dude, that guy sucks. He's greater than what he is in Origins. So, yeah, they did not do him well. And now I feel like Ryan Reynolds wants a do-over, because when you have something as great as Deadpool in the palm of your hand, and your product is what was in Wolverine Origins or whatever, the origin story, not cool. So I'm glad that he's getting another shot at it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like listening to people talking about, like, they cast, I guess, the right actor to play Deadpool, but they messed up the first time. So, and for those who haven't seen Days of Future Past, all that's no longer, none of that matters anymore. It's this new timeline. Like, I've had a year or two to see this, so no spoiler warning. But that movie no longer counts. So I guess kind of going with this movie, where I guess going forward, and with it being rated R, like, I know that there's a petition of people kind of saying, like, well, we should make this PG-13 for some kids. I'm like, I get why they say that, but that would not do the character justice. I mean, just from kind of what I've just been seeing the responses.
I think I've been a little bit of a jerk with my response to that, because it is so incredulous to me. Like, people say, oh, I love Deadpool, and then children say, oh, I love Deadpool. Why is it only PG-13? So what you just said to me was, you don't love Deadpool, because you want Deadpool to be something he's not. Deadpool is everything but PG-13. Deadpool is not for kids. Wade Wilson is not for children. He's not, a kid-friendly character. He never has been. From day one, he never has been. And so, the fact that people want to change him, that just proves to me that they don't actually know him anyway, and they don't love him, they just love who they think he is. So, I think the petition is absolutely stupid. I've seen people that said they're going to bring their 5-year-olds to the Deadpool movie. Not rated R, so, if you really want to see this movie, you can go see it regardless of the rating. And, if you decide as a parent to bring your child, that's on you. But, don't try to make a character into something he's not. Because then you're going to get something like Wolverine Origins. I think, is that what it was called? Wolverine, whatever. And even a product like that is subpar at best. It wasn't even a good character. It wasn't a good representation of Wade Wilson. And I don't think Deadpool deserves to be anything other than who he is. So.
That's true. Because I'll be honest, like, seeing, like, the TV spots, every time I see one, I'm like, how did they make this safe for TV?
Yeah.
And it's like the safe, like, I'm like, I get it, it's the safest cut, but I know it's really there.
Yeah.
And I think the funniest version of Deadpool, which was on, I mean, he's a funny character, but on the Disney XD show, Ultimate Spider-Man, I think it was before they added Web Warriors to the end of it. He was on one episode, and he teamed up with Spider-Man, and he kept saying, like, because he kept saying he wanted to kill people, but he's like, I'm going to unalive them. And I'm like, okay, clever.
Yeah.
Clever.
I love that.
And I'm like, wow, because there was some time, I think at one point episode, it was about to make like a boob joke, like unintended or something, and he's about to make it, and then it took like a 180 and went somewhere else, and I'm like, okay, Disney. I see what you did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I find this to be interesting. Of like, we're finally gonna get like, was it Kick-Ass was a rated R superhero movie, and I didn't think people complained about that one. So, what'd you say?
I know, I was saying finally we have a rated R superhero film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then I don't know who else could have been rated R, but.
Yeah, because like I didn't see the second Kick-Ass movie, but the first one I was like, this is a superhero movie,
right.
and it's. Yeah. I don't remember what Watchmen was, if that was rated R.
I don't remember either, but I would imagine it was a sex scene.
Oh,
there wasn't like really any nakedness. I would imagine it was still be. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I don't remember what.
Yeah, yeah, there was some nakedness in the movie, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. If I know, like, I don't know, like, because going to see that with a family member, it was like, yep, there's Dr. Manhattan walking around with his penis out. Okay.
Yeah, awkward.
Yeah, awkward. But yeah. But yeah, I get what you mean about, like, the petition being stupid. Like, and I understand it for the superhero movie. Let's show it to kids, but people should know what they're getting themselves into, with now being more accepting of the comic book culture.
Absolutely.
Like,
and Deadpool's an anti-hero, so he's not going to be your textbook Captain America.
No.
Just isn't. So.
No, thinking like, was it later this year we have Suicide Squad, and I don't know what that's going to be rated, but I'm pretty sure they'll make it PG-13. But
which makes me sad, but okay.
That could easily be rated R. There was that.
Yeah.
Arkham, was it the Suicide Squad Arkham movie, animated movie, which could have just been rated R. But that in itself, I was like, okay, I know what Suicide Squad is. I haven't read that much of that, but it's there. But looking at the counterpart of Deadpool to Deathstroke, in which Deadpool comes from, like, Deathstroke kills people. He's a mercenary as well, but they do a pretty decent job of making that kind of PG-esque. But that's in Slade Wilson's character, a mercenary working for the government, whoever hires him. But I see that similarities across the board with both. But here's one thing I do need to understand about Deadpool, which I don't get, is like, what is it with his personalities? Like, how many does he have?
I think it's 3.
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. I haven't read any of his stuff in like a couple years, so I'm a little behind. I think it's 3.
Okay.
Yeah, like 2 in his head, and then the one, I guess the third would be him speaking, which technically I guess would come from his head too, but I think it's 3. Okay. But don't quote me.
The first little bit of Deadpool's story that I've read was him in Secret Invasion a few years ago, and I started reading that last year, and it was just kind of interesting to me seeing how the Super Skrulls, or the Skrulls, how they dealt with him, of like, we can't kill him, and I thought that was very fascinating.
I think what I'm trying to say here. I guess with Deadpool getting Wolverine's human, regeneration factor from the next project, I think it turned out better than they could have ever imagined. And just the fact that like they can cut off his head and he can survive without it as long as it gets back to him eventually. I didn't read the story that you're talking about, so I can't really say too much, but his healing factor is phenomenal because he can focus on healing certain parts mentally, which I don't think Wolverine could ever do. Just kind of heal himself, but he can focus his thoughts, all a million of them, and focus on what he needs to regenerate. So I think his abilities are absolutely phenomenal. Okay. But yeah, I don't really know much about the story that he explained it, so I apologize.
Oh, it's fine. Like, no, it's part of a collection a friend of mine let me borrow. It's like the volume 1 of his mini stories, and it kind of takes place during the Secret Invasion storyline Marvel did a few years ago.
Right.
But what are some of the stories that you've read of his stories?
Oh God. one the little bit that I read of Deadpool has just been with X-Force. That was Uncanny X-Force. When he's like working with Sherlock and...
I'm pretty sure like this portrayal that we're going to see is that somehow this could, they'll try to fit it in with X-Men. I mean, we have Colossus in the movie, and I don't know the other X-Men character who's in the movie with him, but it would be real interesting to see how they play off of each other and if he shows up in any future X-Men movies.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I wish I knew where I saw it. I heard some rumor about Ryan Reynolds recently announcing that he wants to do a movie with Cable. And so obviously that would lead back to the X-Men. So maybe Cable is the gateway to Deadpool getting with the X-Men. The writers lately have been doing a fantastic job. I really enjoyed Days of Future Past. So I think that they can pull it off. Hopefully. I guess we'll see when Age of Apocalypse comes out. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
I think they can tie it in. I don't know how they would be able to keep Deadpool as he is and still have the X-Men films, or whatever they decide to name it, but have it still be PG-13, because they're not going to want to lose their audience to the X-Men, which is a very broad audience because it's, the low rating for age restrictions. So
That's true.
it'll be a hard combination, but they might be able to fit it in. So.
I think, and this is probably one of the few ways I could see it happening, is like the way they did it for a cartoon of like he broke the fourth wall a lot, but it was kind of like it was directed toward parents, and if the kids didn't get it, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they could just like kind of how cartoons and for us as kids like Animaniacs and other stuff like Ren and Stimpy, how the adult jokes probably went over all of our heads.
Oh, I know. I've gone back and looked at that stuff, and I'm like, what? They really said that?
Because, like, I think, like, I always would look at my parents laughing with Ren and Stimpy, and I'm like, I don't understand it. They're like,
yeah.
Don't worry about it. And then it's just like Rocko's Modern Life. Oh, that show is very dope. But with his neighbors and Rocko working for a phone sex hotline and among other things.
I've never picked up on that ever.
I didn't get it until I saw like a post like about a couple of years ago. I'm like, my childhood did not need to be ruined with that, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But
fortunately, we were young and innocent then, so we didn't get the rest of it.
Thankfully, there was no internet, like it wasn't like it is now. Gosh, but I do want to ask you about like the X-Men movies overall. Like I know we've talked in the past about the other movies and then the portrayal of certain characters like Storm. So I want to give you the floor to discuss things, what you liked, didn't like, which they changed.
Gosh, okay. So when the first X-Men film came out, I was excited beyond all belief because it's X-Men and they are my favorite group of comic book characters ever. The young, naive me thought it was good for what it was at the time. I still think it's an okay film. The second film, sorry. I was like, I started realizing that maybe things aren't going as well as I hoped. Then the third one came out and I was like, okay, this straight up sucks. Of course, for me, one of the huge factors for the second X-Men film, I don't know if people know this, or maybe the first, I'm pretty sure the second, Halle Berry was on the front of the cover. She was really big in the advertisements back then. She was like, it's like literally in front, and Wolverine would be like in the back, on her right or left side. The focus was like to get people was to put her, as the most important person in the advertising. She was one of the weakest characters. Storm, her version of Storm, was one of the weakest characters they made in the X-Men series. She had the worst line that I've heard out of all the characters. The stupid, what happens to a toad that's struck by lightning, the same thing that happens to everything else. Like, did you even try with that? So, I thought that they absolutely destroyed Storm's character. With the first three X-Men films being so bad overall, I wasn't really that excited about the first class. But seeing the first class, I thought it was good. I thought it was better than the other three. I thought they were going in the right direction. Sebastian Shaw was a character that I didn't expect to show up, but it was a really good choice. Emma Frost is an incredibly strong character. I wish they had made her a little differently. But I mean, she was fine. But I don't know. I don't think they did Emma justice either. But I mean, it wasn't horrible, I'd say. But I think the casting choices were pretty decent for Magneto and Professor X. So with that, and then seeing the Days of Future Past after that, I think the X-Men films are going in the right direction, and I do think they've made up for the atrocities that were the first three films.
Mm-hmm. And while you were talking, I went and pulled out my DVDs, looking at the covers of them, and just kind of looking at like, okay, let's see who gets like top billed and front center. And I see what you're talking about.
Is it the second one or the first one that Holly Berry's in the front?
Let's see. The first one, it has an X and like it's like part of the Wolverine's claws, and you see them in the back. The second one is Wolverine's in the front, and it's Storm, Magneto, Rogue, and Charles, and then the third one it's Magneto, Jean, Storm, Wolverine, and Angel, and Professor X in the background. But yeah, in the front is Wolverine, and then it's Storm next to him, and then there's Jean. But Storm has like, she's like kind of front center.
Okay, that was my question. Yeah, because when I'm working at a movie theater when that released, I remember the promo posters, and I was just thinking, why is she in the front? So, well, maybe they're going to do better with her this time, and they didn't. So, I think I still have that poster actually.
Yeah, I don't really remember the promo posters, but I need to look them up so I can comment. Let me look them up right now. Yeah, because X-Men 2 was, I think, my favorite. I don't remember why. Maybe because they started up the Phoenix Saga and then ruined it in the next movie.
Yeah, the Phoenix Saga is just absolutely amazing, and they butchered that. I think the second one was my favorite too. Now that you say that, because I was looking forward to Jean Grey becoming the Phoenix. That is just an amazing story, and just Phoenix is an incredible force, and yeah, that didn't happen.
No, I mean, was it the way they did it? If I remember, I have not watched it in a long time. In X-Men 3, was it that her powers manifested from within? It wasn't an entity from space. Is that what they did?
In the movies, it came from within her, but the Phoenix Force is a cosmic entity that comes from space.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the posters now. I see what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just googled the posters, just so I can kind of see the X-Men 2 posters. And yeah, I see. Yeah, there's a difference from the posters to the DVD cases. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure because sometimes they're the same. But yeah, because I got the DVDs like the first run of DVDs.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't remember what I was looking at, but I just remember seeing her face all the time, and I'm like, okay. Not that I don't like Holly Berry. It's just,
Do you think?
Like, she's really not that big of a character, so I don't get why they're putting her so such a big deal.
Yeah, cause there is a poster. She has her own poster. Then I see one with Nightcrawler, and so that's another person that I wish they had done more with. But yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Wagner is an amazing character, and they definitely did not do fantastic.
No, I mean, I think First Class, although I have some slight issues with First Class, was a good step in the right direction. Yeah, what were some issues you had with that one?
The First Class?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like Jennifer Lawrence as a geek. You guys can yell at me, give me hate mail, whatever. I don't like her as a geek, period.
Who is that?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
I felt like she was weak. I don't really understand how they had, well, no, that's not true. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I didn't like how they portrayed Emma fully. I thought that, like, they totally didn't go there with how phenomenal she is. She's not even beaten. Well, tell me what your grievances are, and I'll probably remember that way, because I haven't watched it since it released. But I don't really remember anymore.
I've only seen it twice, and it was at the movies. One issue is Havoc being older than Scott. Like, that was wrong. And they had Emma in the movie, which she was a good character, but then in X-Men 3, I think Emma's a little girl.
Oh, yeah.
And Moira Taggart is supposed to be FBI, not a doctor. No, she's supposed to be a doctor, not FBI. Yeah, they made her FBI agent, I think. Which in X-Men 3, she's a doctor in like the post-credit scene or something.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I didn't even I watched X-Men 3 once before it released, and I didn't touch it again.
I didn't realize there was an extra credit scene in that movie until a friend of mine told me. So then
I didn't know about that.
Like the extra credit scene with that one is like it's Moira. I guess it's Moira. Yeah, she's in a hospital somewhere attending to a patient, and then she looks to one body and a person, and then she turns around and you hear Charles's voice, and he says Moira, and then she turns around and is like, Charles. And that's it. And I guess that could explain how Charles came back from the dead.
So I always wondered how that happened. Because I just assumed that he never made it.
Yeah, because him and Cyclops, and yeah, that just didn't. Yeah. So, but yeah, since they've retconned all that to say, it's a new timeline now, I'm good. But then, what other issues did I have? I guess I kind of wanted more out of the Hellfire Club, which isn't a bad thing. I think they did a decent job with it. I just kind of wanted more.
I think they could have pulled better first class. Does that make sense? Like characters. Like I don't understand why Archangel wasn't there. I don't know. It wasn't a bad movie. It was better than the all three. But I mean, I think that they casted Magneto pretty well.
Yeah.
I think they casted Charles well. I don't really have an opinion on Havoc. Not Brother. I mean, he seemed fine as Havoc, but you don't really know much about him, so it's like,
Yeah.
Pixie was kind of like a figure skater or whatever. It wasn't really very exciting, but I mean, I guess it was neat to have some obscure characters, but I don't know.
Oh, true.
Next time if you ask me, I'll have to watch it first and then I'll say it.
Okay. Yeah, because the only ones I don't own are First Class and Days of Future Past. But, I mean, and I wasn't upset with the whole Havoc thing. I was just more of a, well, like, wow, like, I believe he's supposed to be younger than his brother. I mean, at least that's what I got from watching that '90s cartoon show.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I mean, regardless of the gripes, I think I guess everybody has with these movies, there's something to like about all of them, whether it's small or large. I mean,
Yeah.
I think without having them, I mean, yes, I mean there were other superhero movies in the past, but I think without having these X-Men movies and then the Spider-Man movies, like we wouldn't have this like the MCU and other things we have going on right now.
Right.
So, I mean,
and you gotta take the battle for good. I mean, it's great that like superhero films are happening as they weren't before. So,
not sure.
there's gonna be some good stuff.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder now with this whole surge of popularity, like how long will people keep enjoying this, and I guess will this make people actually want to read comics?
I think so. It has. I've had people say that they didn't before, and watching the movie makes them curious. I think that there's a ton of bandwagoners. You know what? Fine, whatever. It doesn't really bother me. I'm glad that some characters are getting noticed. But that was my gripe with Star. It's like, she's a freaking phenomenal character. And like, no one with zero, like, any person that has never seen or read a comic of the X-Men or watched an episode of the show, they would know that Storm was amazing. They would just think you were just this, like, not very important person. She's led the X-Men before. She's Cyclops' right-hand lady. And Professor X her with his team with his skill. So like that doesn't really resonate. She's not extraordinary, and she is an extraordinary character. So that's the only bad thing that people are going to base their knowledge off of these films. They're not going to understand who these people really are. But I mean, like I said, take the bad with the good. As long as those people are paying to watch the films, they're still going to keep making them. And so, for the most part, us comic nerds can somewhat get our fix.
That's true.
I welcome the bandwagoners in that essence.
True, because the thing I kind of find real interesting, like I remember last year watching, I think it was CBS Sunday Morning, and they were talking about Age of Ultron. I think it had just come out, and they did like their movie reviews, and the person gave this generic review of like, it wasn't a great film. It was like another superhero popcorn film and all that. And I thought about it. I was like, I get where he's coming from. And then once I spent too much time thinking, I was like, well, the movie was the way it was, and that, but it really connected to what they're doing with the Agents of Shield and other things. So I was like, well, if you look at it as a standalone piece, you're kind of confused. But if you watch how it's connected to everything else, it's pretty good. And it's like, as one of my friends said, like, when you look at these movies, like the MCU movies, for example, like it's continuing the larger story, which we know is building to Thanos, but then you look at like the TV shows and like the ones on ABC and the Netflix shows, those are kind of like your individualized like single issues, and they're filling in the pieces. But then most people only look at like here's this big event that we have, and that's when most people will actually pay attention. And I think, if you think about it like that, the movies are kind of following that comic book format of like, yeah, we'll give you your small doses, but here's the big thing to look forward to. Like I think Civil War will be really interesting when it comes out later this year. I'm just curious to know how they're gonna like adapt it. So.
I'm looking forward to Civil War. They've been knocking the Marvel films out of the park, so I'm super excited. At least as far as like the Avengers and Captain America and all that. So I'm mostly though I'm super excited about Black Panther coming on the season. So.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. Like, do you think like by the time when his movie comes out, do you? I mean, I know this was like a long shot, but what do you think it's like the likelihood of like having the Marvel Studios get the license to have like a Storm character, if not Storm?
I don't think they're going to do much with Storm. If they have the ability, and until they can admit that Halle Berry is not a good representation of Storm, they're not going to have a good one. It's not that she's a bad actress. She's a fantastic actress, but she is not able to emulate the strength that Storm is. And not to mention, they're not willing to write Storm the way that she is. So I'm not really holding out hope on that. They may, if Black Panther does well enough, they may want to make a love story, even though Storm isn't his first love, but second. But it may do so well that they may have to finally bite the bullet and make it happen. And I don't think that Halle Berry should be the lead for that. But and I don't know, with the whole Days of Future Past, I don't even know how it would work really. So I'm not really sure.
Because like, I don't know the actors that they have playing Storm in Apocalypse this year. Like, I don't really know anything about her.
Oh, what's her name? Zendaya, I think is her name. I am trying to be optimistic, but both movies that I've seen her in, her acting has been absolute garbage. And so, yeah, she's had plenty of practice now. So, and everyone, improves from where they start from. So, she can probably do it if she really tries. So, I'm trying to be nice about it. But the Aaliyah movie and Young Line 2 were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. And she was the lead in both of those. So, and, I'm willing to be, I'm not say optimistic, but I'm willing to give it a shot and hope for the best.
Okay. Hey. Yeah, that's all you can do. Just kind of go into it with an open mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with that movie, I'm kind of curious about, them changing Storm's origin to kind of match Apocalypse instead of it being, was it Shadow King, I think?
Yeah, it is the same thing as her origin, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't remember her being part of the Four Horsemen. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought Gambit was one. I know Archangel was one. But whatever. I have to do my research and go back and read, but I just, no.
Yeah, the only time I remember her being a part of the Four Horsemen was in that TV show X-Men Evolution. It was Storm, Professor Xavier, Magneto, and Mystique.
Right, and see, I wasn't talking about that version. I was talking about the comic book.
Right. I know. That's the only version I know. I don't know the comic version of, like, I know Archangel was one of the Four Horsemen, but I don't know the others.
Right.
Which I have time to learn and research. And
we all do. And that's actually a good point. For all the people out there that think that, if you read comics and you don't know everything, that you're a poser, screw that. There are thousands of comics to read. No one person is going to be able to read everything and remember everything. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, as long as they read and try to remember it, it's okay. Like, I don't understand what the big deal is about people trying to tear one another down. I mean, there are legit people out there that are just pretending to like characters because it's cool right now. But I mean, there are also people that aren't. So, and I'm sick and tired of the whole people assuming that I'm taking it just because I'm a girl and I guess they consider me slightly effective, but apparently big girls can't read comics, and that's obnoxious. So, but whatever, that was just a random rant.
Oh, it's fine because there's a lot of that back and forth thing, and people, the whole claiming ownership over things and saying, I'm better than you, or women can't do this, or guys can't do it. Like, it's that weird back and forth of, like, it kind of needs to stop. Of, like, we're, as long as we all enjoy it, that should be what matters.
Right, exactly.
I mean, and I'm going to start winding things down here, but it's like this. like the thing that kind of concerns me with these movies and or just kind of Hollywood thing and toys and stuff like that is the representation in merchandise, like Gamora and Black Widow not getting a lot of things, and I kind of wonder is that going to happen with Age of Apocalypse and no, is it Age of Apocalypse? I forgot. No, Apocalypse. And then, but then you think like with Star Wars, how people have to fight so they can give Rey her due. Like,
Right.
it's like, come on, you love seeing these people on screen. Why not give everybody that equal chance?
Yep.
And but did you come up with any like more stories that you liked with the Deadpool comics before we close things?
Well, I can't think of any long-term in-depth ones. I can only really think of funny things you said.
Gotcha.
That, for instance, there was one, I don't know what comic or outfit. Let me put it out there. I have the worst memory. I can only remember, like, I can remember stories for the most part, but I can't tell you what issue sometimes. But there was one where he was with Wolverine, and Wolverine was like, my healing factor. I lost it. And Deadpool looked at him and he was like, oh, poor guy, where were you when you lost it? And, stuff like that just cracks me up, because he's an asshole. And it's just awesome. I think there was, like, one scenario where he's, like, in some field with, like, beautiful flowers, and it was super romantic, and he mentioned how nice he was, and the girl was like, oh, yeah, doesn't it make you want to kiss? And he's like, what? I'm Deadpool, I'm a dick. And then he just, like, pretty much pushes her away. It's like, but he didn't see the romance at all. So, I don't know, I really enjoy how twisted he is and just how he doesn't really care. So, but yeah, I can't really think of any stories at the moment, and I feel like a horrible person. But he hasn't really been what I've been reading lately. I've been reading, I just finished Avengers vs. X-Men, and then I'm reading something called Girls, which is really strange. So I've kind of been, like, absorbed into those comics. So Deadpool is not really on my mind. And I actually did it on purpose because I didn't want to have him fresh in my memory in the movie. That way I can enjoy it more, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. I get you.
So, yeah. So, forgive me. I mean, I can talk Deadpool, but, like, once the movie's over and I can go back and refresh my memory, and I've purposely tried to forget things so I can enjoy it. This could be a much deeper conversation.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, because I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I haven't read that much, and that's kind of like when this conversation kind of maybe like first like about you and stuff that you enjoy, and then kind of be a way to some slight predictions or just kind of like about the character overall for people, like our listeners, of like what is like your take on him and just the Marvel stuff and X-Men and like before our takes on things. So it's kind of like a free for all conversation.
Okay.
So it's no worries, no. Because I know when I see it, I'll be going into it with like very little knowledge.
Yeah, and that's probably healthy, honestly. So sometimes the less you know about something that you're watching, the more you can enjoy it. Because I hated seeing Storm on film because, like, I emulated a lot of my life behind her, and I just saw that crushing, falling apart before my eyes, and I don't ever want to feel that again. So, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I do understand. Because, like, people heard me on here talking about like the fact that like I love Man of Steel, and then there are people who didn't like it, and I'm not gonna go into that right now, but it's more like it's kind of the same thing of like people have kind of said, yeah, you're the Superman type person. I mean, not just because I kind of took journalism as a career field, but it's like that the mannerisms and the qualities of life. I'm like, that's kind of the person I am. And then seeing that person, I was like, yeah, that's me. And some of the things that he did in the movie, I'm like, yeah, you have to make choices. I mean, not saying I would snap somebody's neck, I wouldn't do that, but it's like, hey, I got to defend my own and stand up for what I believe in. So, but and in that same way, like I understand what you said about the storm. It's like this is character that we're characters that we're attached to, and then if you see it not done so well, it's like you could have done that like 10 times better.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are some things like like people making their own shorts on YouTube that sometimes are better than the Hollywood productions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen some Dragon Ball Z stuff like that.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes. Right. You can go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just saying I saw some cool like Dragon Ball Z fan films. That came up amazing. Or even what everyone should watch, Mortal Kombat Legacy. Both of them. Absolutely amazing. They're not going to make any more, but like that was a masterpiece. So there are fans that got it right. With Hollywood, that hasn't necessarily, but that's part of life. So
I'm gonna feel really ignorant saying I did not know about the Mortal Kombat thing.
Legacy, you gotta watch it. It's amazing. I would say the only discrepancy I would have would just be that they changed the person that played Raiden between Legacy 1 and then Legacy 2. But other than that, it was great.
Gotcha.
Yeah, check it out. It's awesome. But you can watch it all on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So, but before we close things out, like, was there anything else about yourself that you want to share with the interwebs?
Well, just that, if anyone ever has any questions about anything, feel free to ask me. And also, I just encourage people to just be who you are, even if, people think you're strange. That is totally okay. Because, I grew up with everyone thinking that I was strange. Just recently my parents and my brother were like, I always thought you were a little weird, but, like, now we understand and now we see that, you're just a creative person and, it's amazing. And, we love you just as you are. So, if you are a unique individual, that's okay. If you like things that are out of the ordinary, there's nothing wrong with that. Just be true to yourself. That way you can love yourself as you are. So, but if anyone has any questions about anything or just needs some words of encouragement, feel free to message me. I would be more than happy to help or encourage where I can. I do cosplay because I enjoy it and I love to honor the things that have affected me in life, and I just do it for fun, and I really love doing it for charity. So that's the best part of cosplay for me. It's just to do things and charitable things, I guess you could say. It just plays smiles on children's faces. So I guess there's nothing really. I'm not like some ridiculously amazing, crazy, insane person. I'm just an average person. But I try to stay true to who I am, and I try to be positive. So I'm not like a star. So you can ask me anything. You don't have to be. I don't know. You don't have to be afraid of me. Because a lot of people are afraid of me, and I don't know why. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, and I think so. And you just really reminded me of something that I remember you did, and I just remembered it. So I'm sorry I didn't ask earlier when we discussed Star Wars. But I know were you a part of it was like a video shoot or a photo shoot doing like Star Wars things?
So, and I'm really sad that the director didn't release it. We made a little mini Star Wars fan film, and this was months and months and months before The Force Awakens ever released. So. I'm not really sure what the director is going to do. I don't know if he's ever going to release it. But yes, I did make a Star Wars fan film. It was a lot of fun. And if you're listening, I don't want to say his name and be rude, but yeah, that needs to happen. So,
gotcha.
So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember because I know I saw I remember some of your Star Wars cosplays. Just, when you said charity, I was like, I think you did that for charity. I don't remember. Gotcha.
That wasn't for charity. That was just, people that love Star Wars having fun. But, I would totally wear somebody's costume for any type of event. So.
Gotcha. So, where can people find you online?
Well, right now I only have a Facebook page, and I haven't really been updating it as much as I should, but I will. But just go to facebook.com /CupcakeNinja, and you'll find me. So, I'm sorry, CupcakeNinja Cosplay.
Gotcha.
Apparently there is a cupcake shop called me wherever Cupcake Ninja. But obviously no one will know that. But yeah, so CupcakeNinja Cosplay, and you'll find me on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh, my pleasure. Sorry if I was a little long-winded.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine.